It is a statement that just keeps being proven time and time again. 2025 is the year of women's wrestling, and this episode is exploding with brilliant battles that have happened since we last spoke. Yeah. What's up, sickos? It's me, Bix Bastet, and this is Don't Call Me Diva, where we only talk the proper wrestling, and that is women's wrestling. I run down the women's action in the weekly AEW and ROH shows, plus whatever else women's wrestling related that I feel like talking about. Let it be known before thy enters that we live deep in the world of kayfabe here in Divaville. So take all your smarky ideas and throw them out and fart on them. This is episode 25 of the show. And if you need to know more info on me and why we are here, go check out episode 1 in the playlist. Episode 25 is going to be a big one. We start out in Glasgow, Scotland for Dynamite Collision and ROH. Bit of excitement. Plus, it is Forbidden Door. Forbidden Door has always been one of my favorite pay-per-views because it's just so like random. You honestly never know, for one, who is going to be fighting who, and for two, what's going to happen. Who else is going to show up, you know? Woo! This pay-per-view, The Forbidden Door, is at the O2 Arena, and please believe me when I say it was packed. If you have not seen it already, it's that kind of like crowd that gives you goosebumps when you look at it, and they're all like hyped and into it. Brilliant. Forbidden Door, as I say, is always a fun pay-per-view because, you know, it even can be quite lawless. This one ends with Marina and her Death Riders committing absolute crimes all over the place. It was so wholesome up until that moment. And then it really went into the opposite direction of wholesome and made you go from like, ah, to like, uh, oh. So, whew, if you haven't seen it already, get your butt to Mars and fucking watch that. We also have, just very slightly, Eve's Riot Girls of Wrestling event. Eve X the World, which I am assuming is like Eve versus the world, because it wouldn't be Eve times the world, but maybe it is. What do I know? That happened on the 23rd of August at the Big Penny Social. You can go watch it through their YouTube channel if you are a member. Multiple AEW wrestlers were on this show, and it will be a great show for me to talk about thoroughly in a future episode, which I am thinking will be like next week. So look out for that. For now, though, I'll just let you know who fought who and who was the victor. Ryo. I almost did this because I originally read this with my dyslexic brain as Riho, and I was like, Riho played. Oh, played. Riho fought. Oh, how cool. But no, it was Rio spelled RHIO. So, you know, you can understand my confusion. She went into battle with a lovely Lucy Sky and defeated her, making Rio the number one contender for the Eve Championship, which is being fought on this pay-per-view. You may know the person who has won. Rio is from England and began her career in 2015. She is currently the Progress Women's Champion for the second time for Progress Wrestling in London. This is one thing I'm noticing an awful lot with all the women that fought in all these different pay-per-views over this little weekend. So many of them are already like multiple champions in other promotions. It's stacks of talent. Women's champion for Catch Pro Wrestling, and is in her second run as Wrestle Island Women's Champion for Wrestle Island. Instantly, like, need to know about Wrestle Island. But in like a super like kayfabe way. Oh, someone needs to make a little like animation about that. That'd be brilliant. A tag team battle also happened between Session Moth Martina and Sky Smithson. Oh, no, they were the team and they were versus Manipulation. Session Moth and Sky Smithson were victorious. Session Moth is from Ireland and she has been wrestling for 14 years. We have seen her on the AEW telly before. You may recognize her. But we haven't covered her completely on this show, but we will, you know, after we beat up Julia. Why do I keep on getting inside fights with Julia Hart. I'm not doing myself any good with this. I really need to keep my hands to myself. She is in her second reign as NLW Women's Champion for No Limit Wrestling. Her partner was Sky Smithson. She is English and she has been wrestling for 13 years. Sky Smithson is the TNT Women's Tag Champion with an LA Taylor as experience, and they are also the RCW Women's Tag Team Champions. Manipulation, JC Storm, no relation, and a Vanity. JC Storm is from New York, and she has just begun her battle career of 4 years. JC Storm is the current NCW Women's Champion for the second time for Nickel City Wrestling in Buffalo, New York. Vanity is from New Jersey and has been in battle for 12 years. The one and only Queen Aminata faced Anita Vaughn is from Ireland and she's been wrestling for 6 years. She is a former EVE International Champion and a tag team champion. Speaking of the international title, this was a number one contenders match for the title, and the number one contendership is Absolute Chaos match. Fair enough. Did I read that sentence right? Did you understand what I just said? If you did, let me know in the comments below, because if you did, then you're a miracle worker. Nina Samuels would defeat the 4 other contenders for the winning spot as the number one contender for the international champion for EVE. Nina is from England and has been battling for 10 years. She is a former 2-time EVE champion. Billy Starks and Trish Adora were also in this match, along with someone who you might be very familiar with now, a Bozilla from Stardom, who is in the 4-way for the CEO's TBS Championship, and a Rain Leverkusen. She was also in this match. Rain is from England and has only been wrestling for 3 years, just like Bozilla. Rain is currently in her second reign as Hustle Champion and her second reign as Maiden of Chaos Champion. I love these names. Attack Tag Team Champion as Love at First Sight. And she's also No Mercy Tag Team Champion. Goodness gracious, 3 years, and she is so decorated. My spooky women, Sisters of Sin, Julia Hart and Sky Blue, faced Millie McKenzie and Sapphire Reed to a time limit draw, which I cannot wait to see how that went down. Millie McKenzie is from England and has been battling for 9 years. Millie is a belt collector herself. She currently has 5 championships. She holds the CXW Women's Championship, the Women's Wrestling Underground Championship, the FFW Women's Championship, the CPW Women's Championship, not related to CPW, the shelter I run, which has a whole bunch of kitty cats. Oh, now I want to give them all little divisions and titles. Keep your head focused, woman. And the CPW Lineal Women's Champion. Sapphire Reed is from England as well and has only been battling for 4 years. Reed is the former EVE champion. And speaking of the EVE Championship and the grand finale, the main event is for the EVE Championship. Nyla Rose faced Nightshade in battle with an Aubrey Edwards as special guest referee. Nightshade is known as the Deadly One, and they are so freaking cool. Just a look at this get up here. For anyone just audioing, she just looks amazing. Just do yourself a little Google. She has been battling for 11 years, along with being the EVE champion. Nightshade is also the PWE Women's Champion and also the IW Women's Champion. You see what I mean? A lot of multiple champions on the women over in Britain. The victor of the battle was Don't Call Me Diva Treasure, Nyla Rose. Congratulations to our badass battle queen. Oh, you deserve this so much. Oh, more championships on our Miss Nyla Rose. Please, thank you very much. I do hope that this means that she is still going to be in like lots of battles that we will be able to see, just maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it's Maybelline or maybe it's Nyla Rose. Maybe not on AEW. I'm not giving hope on that. I am not giving up hope that she's not going to be on AEW television before the end of the year, or else it will be a whole motherfucking year without Nyla Rose on telly. And I understand in like real world it's a bit like dangerous out there, but come on. Who's gonna like fight through or like an entire two divisions and an entire arena full of crowds if anyone tries to come for Nyla, you know? Like sickos unite and battle. But congratulations! Yeah! She is the champion! She just looks fantastic with gold, doesn't she? I am constantly just miffed about this, but here's hoping we see more of her too. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we had an AEW, if we had a Nyla Rose on AEW and she leaned a little bit more into her like hilarious side of her character? You know how like we see like on like the trolling on the socials and stuff. It would be really cool if she was kind of like allowed to like be let loose in that kind of way. That would be amazing. And can you imagine how brilliant a team consisting of Harley Cameron and Nyla Rose would be? Like that would be television gold. Like slot them in. Obviously, you know me. I'm a big fan of factions, trying to build as many factions around here as possible. So you have them in a faction already, but then they are like the tag team of the faction. Give me those fucking ratings. Oh, I would love that. This is Nyla's seventh championship, but her first for Eve. And I hope we get a lot of title defenses to enjoy. Warm fuzzies all around because I am just so freaking happy about this. Another pay-per-view that I'm going to cover in a lot more detail next time is the Rev Pro. They had their 13-year anniversary show called Global Wars UK. It was just before Forbidden Door on the 22nd of August. If you have not seen this pay-per-view, oh my God, it is amazing. Emerson Jane she's from Perth, but not in Australia, in Scotland. This whole colonialism really like leaves like in many ways deep marks all over the freaking country because I had no idea there was a Perth in Scotland. No idea. Our commandant of all of her ships and belts was victorious in this, so she kept her belts. She is still the Rev Pro Undisputed British Women's title holder. But she is also, as you may already know, the DW Women's Championship holder now. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to tell you all about that. Emerson Jane has been battling for 13 years and it absolutely shows. She is insanely talented. The moves that she was able to pull off during this match, like these two were battling each other, right? But it was almost like, and I call it like a little, violent dance, but it honestly was like these two were just engaging in almost romantic, violent dance with each other, just the way that they moved and countered, but also like doubt devastating like injury to each other, like as we will discuss later on. Like this was Monet had a hard battle through this one as well, so those last two battles that she has just had, she's been super freaking close to losing her bouts, and I can absolutely see why she doesn't want to talk to anyone about those past fights, because woohoo, they were close and they don't live up to the Delulu fantasy of our commandant of seven boats, a super yacht, and a jet ski, Monet. No one wants to break that delusion for her, so I get it now. So unfortunately, this is now I'd like to announce Mercedes Monet's least favorite show. We do nothing but talk about her past by the time it comes around to discuss that. But we do also discuss her future. So maybe we should leave like put up little timestamps for the CEO for when whenever we're going over like her past and be like, you can come back now, Mercedes. It's all right. The jump scares are done. Bless her little heart. Yeah, so 9 belts, Monet, we now have. Although, if you're being like kayfabe technical, like we are, it's not that way. But we digress. Her opponent for the four-way for her TBS title at Forbidden Door is Persephone, who was also battling in this exact event. She faced and defeated by DQ Alexis Falcon. Falcon is from England and has been wrestling for 8 years. Alexis Falcon is the current TGW Women's Champion and the NGW Women's Champion, but neither of their bouts were on the line for this match. Our Ring of Honor World Champion, the Forever Champ, Athena, was there also having a sweet little battle against a Mercedes Blaze that she won. Coming up, we also have the Death Riders Marina. She didn't fight on this pay-per-view, but if you can believe it, there is another pay-per-view coming up on the 19th of September against Hyan. She will be facing Marina Shafir for her Defy Women's Championship at Defy Aeon. It will be in Seattle, so if anyone's around Seattle on the 19th of September and you are able to go, it will be outstanding. Now, we don't hear much about Marina Shafir's Defy Championship, and I'm not too sure what the reasons are behind that. You know, it's obviously some sort of like legal thing or something. But wouldn't it be awesome if like she was like walking around with her belt and then like, you know, Mox still doesn't have hers and she can just be like quietly just like in the background with her championship. Sorry, almost brand dealing with a brand that I have nothing. No brand dealing over here. Ignore the Karen. So that's going to be absolutely awesome. I cannot wait to see this match and have a little chat about it because I have been following Hyan for a few months now, and I think she is super freaking cool. She is so talented. She has an amazing look. So I can't wait to talk about that. On a side note, though, which I did not realize until I just randomly found out while I was doing my little searchies. Did y'all know that back in 2023, Athena and Billy Starks had a tag match against Marina Shafir and Ronda Rousey on ROH? I had no idea that happened. I completely had no idea that happened. So I got to go check that out. We've got to go review that in like a future episode as well, because that's got to be great. An ROH match with those four people? Yes, please. Yes, please. So that's really cool. So there you go. If anyone's listening out there, wait until your contract expires, and then you can do whatever the fuck you want after that. You know, build up things until then. You know, I'm not trying to like, you know, give like certain wrestlers ideas to like come over, but at the same time I am. And if and if you need anyone to like listen to like help you like decide, you know, come here because I'm the most reputable source on this entire thing. You know, I'm good at convincing people. So I cannot wait to see that because that's absolutely brilliant. I was not aware it was only 2 weeks after her leaving WWE. That just makes it like so much more easier. I mean, so much more better. I absolutely love that. Before we move on to the actual meat, well, not like the episodes coming up. AEW fave Maki Ito is no longer fighting for Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. She also has had her contract just run out. Of course, everyone wants her in AEW. She is such a freaking fave. I have seen this being mentioned by multiple people on Threads. Put her as the new leader of Dark Order and beautiful magic will happen. It really will. It really will. There is definitely a place for Maki Ito in AEW for freaking sure. Now with all of that out of the way, bring the boom, shake your boobs, it's dynamite. The venue is the Ovio Hydro, and it is packed. literally to the rafters. Glasgow is absolutely pumped. I obviously you don't realize it with the first like pan of the arena, but then when it goes out and you see it goes all the way up, it's everyone's here. They're so ready to have a great freaking time. Marina was originally she was involved in the Death Riders trio match, of course, against Jet Speed and Tanahashi. Marina got caught red-handed though, pulling Kevin Knight off of the apron, and the ref then barred her from ringside with the get out of here. Marina knew she had to leave, but she also wouldn't walk up the ramp and get the F out of here. Ospreay came scampering out from the bank and out from the back. She has no idea. She just gets yoinked and gets put over his shoulder, and he takes off up the ramp and takes Shafir out to the back with him. Later on in the night, Ospreay would bring out a body bag, which seemed to contain a Marina, but it turned out to just be like a zombie derby. What happened with Marina during that moment, we will never know. Athena and Mercedes teamed up to take on Timeless Tony Storm and Alex Windsor. Persephone is here as well, and she is at front row for this match. The CEO comes out first and is laid in the gold. She is in her USA gear for this tag battle, and while we are briefly on the subject, I'm not really a fan of flag gear, to be honest. Like, no matter how bling it is, I just think it really looks cringe. The UK and the USA are like big for doing this, but I will also say the Australians are quite bad at doing this as well. Any side little rib you can get into the Aussies is always fun. We have fun down here in the summer hemisphere. We're not trying to kill each other. We're just trying to like rib each other, and it's hilarious. Next out is the American Joshi, the forever champ, the fallen goddess, the minion overlord. 9 days as of recording away from 1,000 days as ROH world champion, Athena. She is accompanied to the entrance stage by a Billy who is in a light purple sparkly dress, but doesn't accompany her to the ring. Pardon. No shenanigans from a Billy shall be during this match. Athena is in her red, white, and black gear with sparkles everywhere. Athena spins and is in full forever champ confidence. After she finishes her battle pose, Athena and Mercedes instantly start snipping at each other. I was very curious to see how these egos will work as a team and if they would interfere with each other and not get the win. Next out is Windsor. She walks straight out to the entrance stage in her blue and gold battle gear, ready to kick some champion butt. For she is the only one in this match without a title. No diss, just an observation. And then the world goes grey. But the red is accentuated in our hearts because it's time for Timeless Tony Storm. Timeless is in a red tartan and black sheer robe. She swishes to the ring with a strong Windsor beside her. Timeless battle poses in the ring, and this riles up the ROH World Champion. I love Athena, but she is very quick to get pissed. The match was as good as I thought it would be, and more. Athena and Mercedes were targeting Tony's head an awful lot, but could never actually keep her down. Scotland were cranked up to 11 and serenaded the wrestlers multiple times. It really created a joyful, frenzied vibe, which I loved. Windsor stood strong against Mercedes, and the whole beginning of this match was basically them countering each other with like absolutely superb wrestling. Mercedes has excellent mat wrestling. She has excellent kind of like almost, and not being like, you know, like, oh, looking at her face or anything, but like, that was weird. But like, she has pretty good base everything. You know, it makes her very difficult to defeat. She can kind of change. Very much like our world champion, Timeless Tony Storm. You know, they both have that Borg in them. You know, they just have to like fight someone once and then like they got their, you know, they got their shit sorted. Tony threatens to eat Monet for dinner, and this freaks her the fuck out, and she tags in Athena. Athena works hard to damage the world champion as much as she can before their world title match at Forbidden Door. Will this work? We do not know. Athena's tope straight through the ropes between Monet's legs. And she, oh, sorry. I like thought I like envisioned it, and then everything just went out of my head. Did you see that? I totally like switched into like life. Okay, coming back. Athena topes through the rope. She goes between Monet's legs and she missiles herself into Windsor, who was on the floor right in front of the announce table. And they both like slammed real hard into it. I could not like get over how freaking quick Athena was. And I just love the way she like sets it up. She fully just like yells at like Mercedes to like lift the things up for her. She's like, no, I'm toping through it. And Mercedes was like, doesn't like being like ordered around, but she could see, she could see the benefit of this. So she reluctantly does it. And then like, just like that, Athena just goes, freaking through. Oh my God. The AEW announce table has a lot more HP than it used to because that thing just kind of went in, and that was it. They flew right into it. Athena and Mercedes actually worked quite brilliantly with each other and are successful in confining Windsor to their side of the ring and then moving swiftly in and out with double teams. Alex is strong, and through the pain, she does manage to hold out, and they can't actually get her to tap or tag. Eventually, Windsor manages to pull it off, though, and she gets to Tony and finally gets a tag. After a tough battle was fought, Windsor gets caught with the O-face again from Athena while she is conversing with the ref. Little bit of like, shenanigans are going on, and she just got caught. When she goes down for the 3. Nothing Timeless could do could stop this from happening. They just laid into Timeless multiple times with headshots just all over the place. And she absorbed them, but they got her outside to the floor, and then Athena was just like a freaking assassin with their O-face and then down. Athena is super stoked with herself, I have to say. Extremely stoked. She really does think that this is going to put her over the edge for the world title match. Though, to be honest, Windsor did kind of receive more of the beating. So that might have been a bit of a mistake. Maybe not for Mercedes, but maybe for Athena. Now, over on Collision, we had the amazing Isla Dawn facing the Megasis herself, Megan Bayne. Now, Megan Bayne comes out with the one and only Penelope Ford, and they are both in their white and blue battle gear. This is not a squish match, not a squish match at squish match, not a squash match at all, a squimish. Dawn really makes it hard for Megan to dominate her, and of course, she is a crowd fave. Her battle gear is everything. I absolutely love Isla Dawn's battle gear, and if this is what she's got, like, in her closet, so to speak, I can't wait to see what else she has. Isla Dawn is from Glasgow, Scotland, so she's a hometown lassie. Her battle gear is all punk and tartan, which is also very punk, so very punk and punk, just was Scottish, and she looks deliciously badass. Isla is in no way intimidated by Megan Bayne. Nah. Isla Dawn has been in the Wobbly Wobblies women's tag team champion before as the Unholy Alliance, and she was also NXT women's tag champion as well, so she is no slouch. Like I said, Isla put everything into this match, but unfortunately, once Bayne hefted her up onto her shoulders and slammed her down for that running Liger bomb, which he needs to name, by the way, because as I say, everything that Bayne does that is usually a power move by like a finisher by someone else or a power move, she needs to name that shit, because when she does it, it just hits harder. And unfortunately, that was just enough to get Isla knocked out enough for the 3 count. She still, recovered really quickly afterwards. No shenanigans happened. There was actually quite some respect shown, even when Penelope Ford got into the ring. I thought it was like some stompies were about to happen, but no, 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 no. They recognized a bad bitch when they see it, and Isla Dawn was able to leave the ring, not any more damage than what she was legally. So that was interesting for the Mega System Ford. I wonder why they did that. I do still think it was just because, like, badass recognizes badass. She is the White Witch. So if we do get her in the AEW division, which I really, 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 really want, she could be quite the foe for the Triangle of Madness. Who would you put with Isla as a faction? Hmm? Anyone? Throw her in. Who do you think should be in? That's a very interesting decision. As seems to be tradition now, before Bane and Ford can even finish walking up the ramp, the hero of the locker room? Question mark. Willow Nightingale's music hits with absolute zero fucks. She joyfully bounces down the ramp, of course, very much snubbing Megabad, who did not appreciate that at all. Watch out, Willow. Megabad aren't, afraid of just like ambushing a bitch when they want to. But next up, once she's in the ring, next up is the wonderful hip shaking beats of the one and only Queen Aminata. Her music hits and she is stunning in yellow. And it seems like her and Willow are definitely on sync for this tag match. They're our last, I'm sorry, my brain is disappearing a lot today. I apologize. Outlast are their opponents, the Sisters of Sin. She got there. Julia Hart and Sky Blue. They complete their ritual battle pose, and we are now all ready for battle. No one else has come to ringside. There is no tickler, so legal is legal. Willow and Julia look up first, and Willow's power meets Julia's toughness. When Queen Aminata gets tagged in, she snaps Julia over with the snappiest suplex, but gives Julia Hart a slight opening, and she sprints out of the corner, nailing Queen Aminata with some quick elbows. Queen Aminata has this new beautiful move that she uses to transition into chocolate kisses. It is a swinging full Nelson, and it's the perfect move for this because it plonks them on their butt and like kind of dazes them a bit, so she can get them into chocolate kisses and daze them out even more. Mwah! Beautiful transition, Miss Queen. Sky Blue gets tagged in, and she has a very fun time dealing out violence to Miss Aminata. She is in her happy place when violence is done. Sky has leveled up, in case you haven't noticed, and has become tougher, stronger, and faster. Teamed with a confident and dangerous, this is quite the dangerous personality to be dealing with. Woo! She is amazing. The woman with all the hair, though, is still rocking normal lengths of hair. Maybe a little bit easier for dealing out the violence. Who knows? We won't go too deep into that one. And then we get a bloody ad break. A bloody goddamn frickin' ad break. Which, as we all know, is just... Oh no, wait. Every time I go to do it, it's always the collision one, which is the dynamite one, which is what is the fucking collision one again? I can't. Oh yeah. So annoying. But after that, I have no idea what happened. It was because we just like kind of came in, and yeah, all of a sudden Willow is like dealing damage over here. The Sisters of Sin are down over here. Queen Aminata team up together. It's a full roller coaster of moments. But to be honest, Glasgow wasn't as enthused into this match as I would have expected from them. But never mind. Willow and Queen Amanada do end up winning the battle, but very, very, very quickly, an absolute brawl breaks out in the ring. First, Tekla runs in to initiate the biggest dance of violence with Queen Amanada, who was very keen to get started. The Triangle of Madness then beat down on Willow and Amanada. This is a delicious beatdown, and it calls out to the one and only, out, not the one and only, because she's getting beaten up in the ring, to the one and only lover of violence, our Miss and Mrs. So, Mega Man comes out. Oh my God. This is terrible. Who and they are very, 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 very keen to join in the beatdown on our Willow and Miss Amanada, who have already become overrun by the Triangle of Madness. So this is not going to go down for them. Then all of a sudden, can you see? Oh no, she's not that way. She's over there now. Can't see her. But all of a sudden, a very wrath-filled woman comes running out to the back, and it is a Harley Cameron. She goes straight for Bane, not caring in the slightest that she is outnumbered. This can only be this can only be successful for a small amount of time, because eventually she too then gets beaten down. But she tried. It was the beatdown on Harley that finally brings out our Miss very pastel gray Chris Statlander. And she and Bane clash in the center of the ring. I cannot wait for this future blood and guts match that has to be coming, right? It hasn't been announced, but I am manifesting the utter fook out of it. Join me and we'll see if it works. Now, that was how our raucous collision ends. Absolute madness. We will be seeing all these women a little later on 0 Hour. For ROH, though, we had the fabulous Trish Adora facing Janai Kai, who we have seen in action before. Janai is a very unique technical wrestler who looks like she does literally nothing but train and fight. Janai's battle gear is black and yellow, kind of a Thai kickboxing look. Adora is, of course, though, very technical too and has the power advantage, plus some extra sass that she puts into her submissions that really, makes them stand out and a little bit more brutal. Janai got very close, though, to winning this match, but Trish managed to kick out. Once Trish ran through Kai, though, with a stiff lariat, it was all over. And the infantry via STP, Trish Adoras gets the victory. Trish Adora is literally such a fun wrestler to watch. The infantry in their entirety are quite the little band of misfits. I completely forget that I completely forget that they all have like military backgrounds. They're such little misfits. I love them. I love them all. I love the entirety of STP. It's amazing. We need more women in this. Then we can cover more STP stuff. Not that anyway, more women. She is very creative. She is also very strong. She's hilarious. And I absolutely love her. She looks gorgeous in her all white battle gear that she was rocking this evening. And she's also been on AEW for a really, really long time. If you were going through and catching up and watching the Dark and Dark Elevation matches, you'll see a lot of Trish Adora in there. I really hope she keeps on sticking around in AEW as well, because I really love her. Right. Wow. While we take a minor moment for a simple, because I need all the hydration for this one. Because are you ready? Are you ready for Forbidden Door? Now, I just have to take this quick moment, a very serious moment here on Don't Call Me Diva. We would just like to announce before we get into any of this that we will not be seeing our Layla Gray, because our absolute diva of all divas, the only diva in Don't Call Me Diva, is in New York doing amazing promotion for her upcoming, well, her already out, I'd imagine now, album called This Is Layla. Layla Gray. All right, everyone get it all out of your system right now. We're here. Okay, everyone ready? On the one and a two and a three. Layla Gray. Oh! It just makes you feel good, right? Now, is everyone ready for a pay-per-view? Yeah, are we ready to go into this pay-per-view? Because I am. Woo! Okay. Now that we first start off with 0 hour, and the whole arena is humming with electricity for this pay-per-view. The ramp is flat all the way to the ring. The ramp is like the perfect width as well. Not too wide, not too skinny. Perfect for majestic openings and shenanigans to happen. The wonderful Madison Rain joins the Wrestle Aunties in some sort of double J action for some chit chat. The remarkable Renee Paquette is in a gorgeous outfit, and our friend the Silver Belt makes its appearance. I cannot honestly describe to you Miss Paquette's outfit. It's like a dark blue. She has like it's like a bodysuit, but it has like these little like cutouts like right by the nether regions with like sparkly. It's gold. The first match we have is the big fallout from Collision. It's the 8-man tag match between basically the good guys and the baddies. Megan Bain and Penelope Ford come out in matching amazing new battle gear. I shit you not. It is beautifully crafted. And this was when I learned that Penelope was, well, specifically Penelope was a Warhammer 40K fan because her outfits, I'm not too sure if it was Bane's as well, but her outfit in particular was inspired by Warhammer 40K. Looking like true battle gear, honestly, in golds and reds and black. It is a pity that Penelope isn't battling tonight because I'd love to see her like in this gear and go, but she is like definitely dressed for it. And so I hope we get to see this gear in the future. And also, I'm sorry, Miss Bain, not to over sparkle you. You also looked ravishingly destructive in your matching colored battle gear of fantasticness. Icons. They complete the. I always say that this is like when you tell your cat, when you have like maybe multiple cats or you see multiple cats, that they're the best cat in the world. This is like this kind of thing, right? Just let me roll with it. They finished the best battle pose entrance in wrestling. And we move on to the Triangle of Madness, who have glorious new Titantron video action, and they come out next. All three are looking fabulous, as is tradition, and the baddies are now complete. They have not new battle gear, but Julia has something very new on her left shoulder that I can't quite make out. They complete their in-ring battle ritual and also their entrance, which is one of the best in absolute wrestling. And the baddies gather. The gaggle of goodies make their entrance, and they all have fabulous battle gear for the occasion. First out is Willow, and she is pumped to the max. The hero of the locker room almost takes out the set trying to high five a fan. Bless her little heart. Willow is in a beautiful darky mauvey purple and silver battle gear. Queen Aminata hip shakes her way out next and is in a beautiful white battle gear with some chains added for battle bonus, which is fair for this match. Harley Cameron explodes out next and she looks very cool and sparkly, all in black. Chris Statlander is last, and she also has new battle gear in red and gold. I have I had I wouldn't say I had concerns because they weren't that bad now, since like dark stat really isn't like dark stat anymore. She's very much like gray pastel stat. And Harley's there. Harley seems to be, the warming, smushy comfort maybe that, Chris needs to not be so violent in her self-confidence, I guess. Maybe she will be the glue that smushes Willow and Chris together. If it wasn't for a couple of accidental shots to each other, it may have happened a little earlier. But we'll get into that. As soon as they hit the ring, the bell rings. Violence instantly ensues. Everyone picks a partner and dances the dance of violence all the way to the outside. So far, the good guys are dominating the baddies, though. Unfortunately, I mean, when you think about it, they are all very strong. Julia is insanely strong. Tekla is insanely strong. And of course, like Megan Bain is insanely strong. But the strength is a little bit more beefed on the goodies side. See if that comes into action. Well, see if that becomes a problem for my dear baddies. The whole arena is super hot for this match, and Willow is 100% without a shadow of a doubt, definitely the crowd favorite. And very close behind her, our not so dark stat, more of a grey pastel stat, is very close behind her in favoriteness of this favoriteness. And what was the word I was saying? As favorite for this match. God, she dies her roots, people, and then the brain just goes out the fucking nose. But wouldn't it? Anyway, though, London does seem to favor their faces, I am seeing, because even though everyone is instantly over in this match, they are more behind the group of goodies. I think, honestly, if we're just going to take a little step back for a second, when Chris and Willow finally do like makeup, everyone's just going to explode. It's going to be tears. It's going to be hugs. It's just going to be brilliant. We'll see when that happens. Anyway, so after a flurry of battle at the beginning, both teams then just had to take a moment to regroup. The baddies recover from their beatdown at the beginning, and then they start dominating over the others. The Megasis torpedoes herself through the ropes and takes out about 3/4 of the faces right then and there. Surprisingly, Willow and Chris are working really well on the same team. But like I said, there was some slight miscommunication, and that did lead to some accidental bashing that I got really worried was going to start opening old wounds. Tekla and Queen Aminata end up fighting each other up the ramp. And we don't end up seeing them again until about literally 2 hours later. And they're still fighting backstage. Who knows? I haven't seen Dynamite yet. They might still be fighting to this fucking day. Because Queen Aminata got stuck in London. That had to have been Triangle of Darkness. That had to have. Anyway, Megan Bain goes into extreme battle mode after this. And the long fought clash of will against raw power finally comes to her side. The Sisters of Sin have done some good damage to Willow and is now on the outside. Megan Bain takes out Stat with a bit of help from Penelope Ford and ends the match with her beautiful running Liger Bomb. She's like, keep saying major name. And Harley goes down. Harley pulled out the ruse of taking her mask off, and she was bashing Bain in the head with it earlier, but unfortunately that just seemed to activate Megan Bain and caused all of this to happen. Really pissed her off. A very satisfied Bane gets the win for her team, and they bask in the booze of their glory. The energy in this match was amazing. You can watch this for free, my dear sickos, on the AEW YouTube page. And if you want to follow the storylines of the women's division, you need to watch this match. You do. Much more is going to come between all of these wrestlers. The future has only just begun to see the destruction that they will be causing. I wonder where they will be this time. Not necessarily this time, but next year for All Out. Damn. On the main show, the first match we jump into is our Miss Mother Wayne mothering her way to the ring in an outfit that looks like complete perfection on her. Friend of the pod, the Black Bustier, makes an appearance and she teams it up with some slick black pants. Her jacket is mesmerizing. It's all black, white, and flowy fabulousness. She accompanies the Luchasaurus and her eldest, Kip, as they have their battle with Destiny. One thing I will say before we leave these folks to their business, if there were bets going on anywhere as to who would be the first person to bleed at Forbidden Door, I would say that not many people would have had their money on Sir Kip. He got busted open above his eyebrow, and it was a gusher. Next, though, is our four-way for the TBS Championship. First out, we have Windsor, which I have to say, at first I was like, oh, okay, but I just adore fucking saying it. Like, honestly, if you want a little joint, well, you can do one thing. You can either like yell Layla Gray, which I swear works every time. But if that doesn't work, pair it up with a Windsor, and you're good to go. So she's out first for our TBS battle. Her new battle gear is in red and she explodes to the entrance ramp as is tradition. London is very happy to see our Miss Alex Windsor. Alex pumps herself and the crowd up as she makes her way to the ring. A battle pose before she enters, and then she tops it off with a big battle pose on the ropes, and Windsor's battle ritual is complete. Now, next, the newest, but also the strongest participant in this battle is Baszilla from Stardom. Baszilla has only been wrestling competitively out in the wild for about 3 years. In her first year, she won the ACW tag titles with her dad, who is Ulf Herman, who you may have heard of. He challenged RVD for the ECW World Television title a couple of times. Baszilla has gone on to win already the Serious Women's Champion and was also the Marigold, you guys know Marigold, Twin Star Women's Champion. Baszilla has been recently competing in the Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix 2025, and she has also challenged Azumi for her New Japan Strong Women's Championship. So she's only been around for 3 years. The woman is only 21 years old, but do not sleep on Baszilla. She comes out with this fucking awesome battle vaporizer. Yes, out of kayfabe, I know what it is. This massive like vaporizer, and she is huffing hard on that thing as the smoke leaves a trail behind her. And she makes a menacing presence as she stomps down to the ring. Her battle gear and battle jacket are all black and silver. We cut to Windsor, who seems a tad concerned. Baszilla is honestly very intimidating. Third out is Persephone from CMLL. We love Persephone. As we butcher her name, we love Persephone around here and have spoken about her many a time on this show. She appears through the smoke that may have been left by Miss Baszilla in gorgeous battle gear inspired by the colors of Mexico. Persephone's battle pose in the ring is just a full-on explosion of battle cry, basically, and I freaking love her. Now, finally, the woman they are all here to challenge. Our TBS champion has, oh my God, extremely badass battle gear for this fight. Holy flying fraggles. It is a creation of excellence. It's all black and white, very new world order themed. Um Titties with straps everywhere. This battle gear is gorgeous. She comes out with a King's Guard as well, which doesn't go over too well with the London crowd. And each one of them has one of her belts. The TBS champion, though, has her own TBS title around her waist. She disrobes from a very long white battle coat. I didn't quite see the back of it, but it does kind of look like the one she wore at All Out, which had all the women, all the wrestlers that she had defeated on it. And there was room for some more, but we didn't see the back of it, so I'm not quite too sure if it was that one. She battle poses on the apron before heading into the ring and facing her future. The bell rings. All of the wrestlers spring into action. The CEO manages to overcome them with some rather quick and experienced moves. But after some cheeky miscommunication, Bozilla just starts demolishing everybody. When Windsor and Persephone are the only ones left standing in the ring, though, they give the TBS champion a lovely little flapjack that completely knocks her off out of her fucking entire body. And once she rolls out of the ring too, they begin to fight. This on its own was a gorgeous dance of violence. Seeing these both wrestle and engage in the moves that would have taken a lesser foe down is mesmerizing. These two know each other rather well, so this was an outstanding match. Even though Miss Bozilla hasn't fought anyone in this match yet, they did very well at recovering and being able to take everyone out a few times during this match. She even lifted Monet high above her head at some point and just threw her over the top rope as she landed on the preoccupied Windsor and Persephone. See, that's the problem when you get to the outside. Well, there's many problems when you get to the outside. But if you have a multiple person match and some people are on the outside, like having a bit of a fight, you need to have eyes in the back or on the top or on the side of your head, because someone could be flying at you at a moment's notice and then you're just a big pile of smush. Even if sometimes you do see it in time, you have no time to react and you'll just smush. The atmosphere in the arena was on during this whole match, but particularly during this match. They were chanting their butts off through this entire battle. I remember reading something somewhere about someone was asking why, I think they were saying Europe in general, but why the British were really good at coming up with sing-songy chants and stuff. I have 3 words for you, my dear people. Football, or soccer, as some of you may know it. Pubs, beer. Voila. You get those 3 combined and you have yourself a sing-songy bunch of British and Europeans. I get you. And when they're doing that often, it's just like muscle memory, you know? Someone's just got to start something and then they all go off. They freaking love a good drunken sing-along. Bless them. They especially love insulting someone and also cheering on someone in sing-song. It's just basically just more fun, you know? I would say next time you're out and about, try and get a sing-song started. But, in certain cultures in certain areas, that's just rude. So perhaps not. Mercedes had to fight through this entire freaking match. Everyone in this match is legitimately stronger than her, and she was getting thrown around. Windsor pulled off a very cool looking suplexy arm drag on Persephone that looked absolutely gorgeous. Persephone also monkey flipped Monet at Bozilla, who caught her, muscled her up into a Liger bomb position. Persephone was not intending that to happen, but she adjusted on the fly, thinks of another plan, and this is another moment that Windsor and her just work perfectly well together. She slides into the ring and, like lightning, and instantly picks up what Persephone's new plan was. They both run and slide out to the ring with a baseball slide, taking out Bozilla's legs out from underneath her as they went. Mercedes still gets the Liger Bomb, but Bozilla also gets dragged over and underneath the ropes. She does manage to turn herself around and boots both of Windsor and Persephone in the face, but as she turns around, she receives a lung blower from a very pissed off Monet through those ropes, and Mozilla gets taken out of the ring. Some big moves from Windsor. She comes at everyone with a cannonball from the apron to Bozilla and Mercedes, who were out on the floor. She gets straight to her feet afterwards with a battle cry from the depths. Persephone's feet tried to take her out when she topes through the ropes. They were going into business for herself, and they were not in the business for their owner. When she was trying to tope through the ropes at Windsor and Bozilla, but she still got them and gets straight to her feet and releases her own battle cry from the depths. With Bozilla down on the outside, the pace quickens in the ring. Mercedes' ability to recover and her stamina regen is absolutely top tier, and she was using everything to take Persephone and Windsor out long enough so she could get a goddamn pin. But they were both doing the exact same thing. Once Bozilla entered the ring, though, action did not slow down. Bodies were flying all over the place, with Windsor and Persephone being in sync so freaking much. The TBS champion was in her toughest four-way since the four-way for the New Japan title that she had, and that didn't go well for her. She ended up losing that. All three wrestlers just continued to throw her around the ring. Most of this match is Mercedes kind of like regenning and then like murdering everyone with everything she's got, and then all of a sudden like Bozilla comes in, she has to like regen again. Mercedes Monet has all of the tricks though, and she manages to lock in a statement maker on Persephone and Windsor at the same time. Windsor does manage to power out of it, but eventually. Windsor then puts Mercedes and Persephone in a double sharpshooter, which I have to say was very, very impressive. And I now see the thinking behind Monet's very awesome fluffy leg warmers here. They give her a little bit of cushion to protect her lower legs, but neither her nor Persephone can get out of this goddamn sharpshooter. But never fear, my dears. The incredible and very helpful Bozilla is here. First, she protects them by standing on their hands, helping them to not tap out. She's very kind. And then she solves their Windsor problem with a short, stiff lariat to the back of her head. Everyone regroups as much as they can, with Bozilla ramming them in the corners. Mercedes has noped the fuck out of there and is building up stamina on the seemingly safer outside. Persephone almost cuts Windsor in half with a very strong spear, but Bozilla is back and takes them both out. While they are out on the mat, Bozilla climbs the ropes. It seems this giant woman has some wings. Bozilla ends up completing a beautiful moonsault that lands perfectly onto both of them, and she goes for the pin. But out of nowhere, Mercedes shoots back into the ring and breaks them up. She is shitting herself. That was way too close. And as we look at Mercedes' face, she is terrified of Bozilla and wants nothing to do with this. She gets pulled up into a Liger Bomb by Bozilla. But the very quick thinking from Mercedes reverses it. She gets into a Poison Rana position and she almost gets the win right there. But Bozilla manages to get her shoulder right up at that last possible moment. The last few minutes of this match is absolutely brutal, if you could think it could get any more brutal than what you have already seen, and uses the last bit of power in everyone's bodies. Persephone manages to crucifix bomb Bozilla, which is just insane in itself, but she cannot get the win before Windsor takes her out with a stiff lariat. When Persephone tries to do the same to Mercedes, though, Monet spins around, Hurricane Rana's her over, and then squishes her down for a tight, deep pin, and she gets the 1, the 2, and the 3 before Bozilla and Windsor can stop it. That was freaking close, Mercedes, and she knows it. She gets her butt out of that ring as quickly as possible, leaving everyone else absolutely distraught, exhausted, and very mad. Mercedes knows how close she came to losing her TBS title, and she wants to get as far away from those three as possible. I doubt she will be accepting any fights from any of them, especially four ways in the near future. That's for freaking sure. Woo! I am exhausted just talking about that match. That match was intense and just go, 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 go from the world, from like the word go. Oh my God, it was so good. I I kind of had a feeling that our Miss, belt collector Monet wouldn't be losing her title. But crumb, I didn't realize that all three of them would take her to almost her absolute limit. Not to mention, they themselves could still have gone. If Mercedes hadn't have got that squish pin on Persephone and either of the other two would have been able to come in and break it up, we would probably still be having this fight to this day. To this day, we still could have that four-way going on. And somewhere out there as well, Ticklet and Queen Aminata are still fighting. That honestly could have happened. But yeah, no, Mercedes got the win and she got the frick out of there. We saw her later on as well. And she was still running. She basically ran until she realized that those guards still had her belts and she had to go back in and find them. We ended up seeing her also later on the media scrum. So she didn't end up actually like leaving the building, but you can bet she like held up somewhere real like tight and secure. She would have had probably like 6 security people just on like her one door of her locker room. Surely she has her own locker room. Surely. The last match we have today for you, my darlings, is the world title match between Timeless and Athena. Athena comes out first with Billy Starks, who is wearing a very comfortable looking pink silk baggy pants combo. Baggy pants combo. The fallen goddess, the American Joshi, the minion overlord, the forever champ, 9 days as of recording away from being ROH world champion for 1,000 days, has huge, gorgeous wings in white, purple, and pink, and they match her hair and her gorgeous battle outfit, appropriately accessorized with all the straps and buckles and holographic goodness. But once again, the world goes grey. But the red is accentuated in our hearts because it's once again time for Timeless Tony Stark. She is in full vintage, fresh. She's a fresh French hussy. She is in pink and white for her battle outfit and has a sheer white robe that flies around her with feathers. And the entire arena is going absolutely, completely bonkers bananas for the world champion. Everyone is super excited about this match. Now, I will say I love the Timeless World Champion. I do with all of my heart and everything in the world. But as you all know, I was quite convinced that Miss Athena was going to be walking out of this match with another title around her waist. But once again, our Timeless Champion proved why she is our AEW World Champion. We have 2 very, very strong champions at the top of their divisions in AEW. I think we can be quite proud of that. Now, before Billy gets any little sneaky ideas, the Timeless One goes out there and deals with her appropriately by giving her a Storm Zero on the outside. And that was very well deserved. That's all I have to say about that, Miss Billy. You know me and Billy, we have a we're good, but she did deserve that, I do have to say. This was one of the most amazing women's matches I have ever seen. These two are at top tier of the entire wrestling world. Before you can even blink after the Timeless One takes out Billy, Athena is already there and is engaged in super speed mode and like drop kicks her face off of her. Timeless falls back and like hits the LED barricade, and the entire thing just goes completely off with the force it took for her to like smash into that. That was absolutely insane. She gets her back into the ring, and then they just keep fighting back at each other. So many heavy forearms. Timeless gets Athena with a really nice jawbreaker, but it doesn't stop Athena at all, who just runs at her with everything she has, all these elbows and stuff. And the Timeless One, she gets beaten down an awful lot. She even gets her, like, you know how they were working on her head and everything during the match, like during the tag match? Athena's got that exact same game plan in mind. So that was obviously her idea. Timeless ends up in a really dangerous position at the ring post, right? And as we all know, these things are square. Athena is on the ground, grabs the Timeless One's face, and like repeatedly within the legal time limit as well on the count of five, but repeatedly, like three times, slams her face into that ring post. How that didn't like bust the world champion open at that moment, I will never ever know. Athena then just like boots her in the side of the face and gives us one of her like, which I can't do because of my tiny little like my tiny little area. But she gives us, oh no, so it's this one that goes up. So she gives us like a 8 o'clock slash that turns into like a 5 past 9 kind of pose. She's so happy with herself. And as we see behind her, we can see that just here, exploding in the Timeless One's forehead, she has actually been busted open by the Forever Champion. Oh dear. But as we know, Athena might think this is a good thing, but as we know, this just activates the world champion. She doesn't get to like capitalize on her straight away. Once again, my brain forgot work. She doesn't get to capitalize on her straight away with this because Athena is running on top tier battle mode, and she sees that blood and she's like, fuck this or what? And she knees the world champion multiple times in the face, just like knocking her absolutely silly, and then just like throws her to the ground. She was once again very, very proud of herself. Unfortunately, the world champion can't capitalize on this little like space that she gives her because she's still really, really reeling from the days of having her face smashed into the goddamn pillar. Athena puts her through the ropes, hangs her over the middle rope, goes to give her a running head scissors, I think, but by this point, the Timeless One has recovered enough stamina with that little bit of help from Brett Rope's of healing power. Athena should have thought about that. She knew about that rope. She knew. The world champion gets out of the way of the head scissors, rolls Athena up through the ropes. It was rather, rather impressive, and goes for a very tight roll up pin. Unfortunately, the Forever Champ wriggles her butt out of it. We go into a flurry of violence again. And unfortunately, Timeless once again gets tripped. Well, she actually kind of gets more kind of catapulted face first into that middle turnbuckle again. Oh my God. I mean, she's tough, but if she gets knocked out, what can she do? But once again, the world champion is activated. She runs at Athena with multiple flying lariats and then flips her over with for a gorgeous fisherman suplex. She does it so well. She keeps her in tight for the pin, but Athena explodes out of it. The world champion is seen grabbing at her neck a bit as well after this pin. It seems like not only the smash to her face is affecting her, but the whiplash on her neck is also doing the world champion a lot of disservice. But she breaks into mode again and tries to get Athena into her Storm Zero. But Athena, note the absolute freaking fuck out of that one. Athena then flips her around and gets her with a face breaker? Yeah. No, a face buster onto her knee, and then a lovely head and arm suplex takes the champion slamming down onto the mat. And once again, Athena is very, very proud of herself. But that was bad move because this once again activates the world champion, and then Athena herself almost gets pinned. Timeless, after a flurry, tries once again for the Storm Zero on Athena, but Athena has scouted that way too much. Athena gets taken down with a very lovely DDT off the ropes, and the Timeless One goes for another pin, but no. Around the middle-ish of the matchy kind of things get real nasty, and those two wrestlers just clash heads together multiple times in the ring. The crowd has been doing everything in their power to give, honestly, both of them as much crowd power as possible. And it really did help. Both of these wrestlers were firing on all cylinders, and you could just feel the passion just exploding out of them. It really was an amazing match. The athleticism from both of them was outstanding. And I think the world champion just proved that she has a tough little nut on top of that head. Eventually, Billy wakes up from her Storm Zero on the outside and manages to cause a little bit of a distraction for the world champion as she is trying to take Athena out for another high flying move. And it worked. Athena takes her down and then does that beautiful like body slam of when she like deadlifts the opponent up, and in this case was our world champion, deadlifts her up and then power bombs her straight down, or body slams her straight down onto the mat for another pin. But the very hurting but determined world champion is not laying down for anyone. Athena is then completely frustrated and she pulls out her tough guns. She does that cool little like leg trip flip into the modified clutch. And the champion is in a world of hurt, but very close to the ropes. And she eventually gets her foot to it, which annoys the living shit out of Athena. It absolutely does. Everyone is then doubly activated. Shit goes crazy. Athena gets thrown around outside after almost a Storm Zero onto the steel steps. A Timeless rams her into the dead LED ramp barrier there, and then ta-da, the entire thing comes back. Bravo. The power of violence brings you back to life. Everything goes bananas in the ring. Billy then gets involved again, messing up the world champion. And this almost is the Timeless One's undoing. Athena is, of course, getting on the top rope behind her, and she cannot see it at all. So Tony is still on the outside of the ring, but she's on the apron, okay? The skirting around the ring has been lifted up, but they're just ignoring it. They're just like fighting around it. Billy, the conscious and pissed off Billy, is trying again to obviously interfere, and she pulls the apron, like not doing anything, and this trips up both of them, and Athena gets out of the Timeless One's clutches. So while the Timeless One is yelling at Billy, and she's been all like, didn't touch you, I mean, kind of technicality. Athena is up on the top rope, and just as Timeless turns around to be like, what on earth? Athena lands an O-face on the Timeless One, and the Timeless One has like the ropes around about here, and she like right over there, almost like a hanging guillotine, but via O-face. I thought she was done then. I really, really did. The timeless one just collapsed. She's kind of like half still out of the ring, like her top half is on the apron and like the rest of her body is in the ring. And Athena is fucking around with the ref, right? She's like, oh, there's like something going on in my eye or my neck or something. And Miss Billy Starks gets herself a steel chair, thinking she's going to do something with that. But oh no, 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 no. The crowd then erupts even more than what they already were. And we see the amazing Mina Shirakawa has run down ringside. She grabs the steel chair out of Billy Starks' hands while she's like this. And no, 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 Miss Billy Starks, you will not be smashing our world champion on the face with a steel chair. Oh my God, the world champion's head has been demolished. Whoo, boy, it's a good thing she's at top tier at the moment and still has like some little side tiers to go off, for those extra bonuses. Mina Shirakawa chases Billy out and up the ramp with the chair behind her, and whew, that is the end of that shenanigan. Oh my goodness gracious. Like I said, I honestly thought that was it. Athena drags the world champion into the ring a little bit more by 1 foot, and the two go into a roly of little tight packages, but neither of them getting the win. Athena gets a break and she goes for another very quick O face on the champion, but the champion has been scouting this O face, obviously, and in a normal situation, she has accounted for this, and she does. She blocks Athena's O face. Who's blocked Athena's O face in a traditional setting of the O face ever? I can't think of anyone. And our world champion blocked that shit. I could not believe it. I was so freaking proud of her. She instantly puts the TCM chicken wing on Athena, and Athena can only do one thing in the middle of that ring, and that's tap. Athena, our Ring of Honor world champion, who is currently about 9 days away from being Ring of Honor champion for 1,000 days, finally gets defeated. Her first defeat. Of course, it is our queen, top of the mountain world champion, timeless Toni Storm. But Athena has now been defeated. We didn't see Athena in anything after this match. The last thing we saw of her, she was on the mat in God knows what headspace. Toni is also like, she's befooked. She herself, we didn't even see her later on in the end. At like, blah, blah, blah. We didn't even see her at the media scrum or anything afterwards either. She took a beating, and she's gonna need some recovery time. Maybe, I don't know. She took a lot of hits to the head. Who is left? Well, I say who is left. That's pretty rude. There are very many women wrestlers left in the AEW division who can step up to timeless Toni Storm. But without throwing any like shade, who can defeat her? She is such a sponge for wrestling. She comes out with like new stuff all the time. These Mongolian like hammer club. These Mongolian chops are like devastating in her hands. A Les press is a devastating move in her hands. Now she has Mina Shirakawa on her side. Do you think the world champion could create a faction? That would be cool. Hey, that would be real cool. But anyway, back to Athena. What kind of Athena are we going to get now, people? Are you prepared? I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared at all. But this could be the opening that Billy Starks needs to challenge for that title. Oh dear. Oh dear. We shall reconvene on that later. But at the mentioned media scrum, I have one thing that I would like to mention from that. Thank you, because it's very pertinent to our show and the things that we want to know. Now, we did see Mercedes Monet there, and yes, don't call me Diva does apologize, but we do talk about your past, my dear. She was very much like, not on that and only on future stuff, as is tradition. But the thing that I want to mention is the media scrum. Everybody's boy, if you know him, Jay Hunter, was there to ask the real questions that we all want to know from the remarkably unquestioned Renee Paquette about the Mox and how much she knows about his plans. Well, it seems she knew it all and even agreed to, like, all of it. So, from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Thank you, Jay Hunter, for doing the journalism that we need to know. Seems we all need to keep our eyes on a Miss Renee Paquette, don't we? So, what are your thoughts on this week's discussion of the amazing Forbidden Door and all the wonderful matches we have spoken about? I can't wait to get into those pay-per-views. That's going to be so much fun. Because the more, that's another thing I love about this. Doing this show means that we get to talk about an awful lot of other indie promotions because of the wonderful Mercedes Moné. And all of these matches that the AEW women's roster get to participate in, which means we get to expand our love and knowledge of women's wrestling. So even though we do focus on AEW and ROH, we basically cover it all apart from a certain wobbly wobbly. If you so wish, you can leave your little thoughts as comments in the appropriate sections of wherever you are. And if you would be so kind as to like and subscribe whilst you're there, I'd be very happy. Thank you very, very much. You can find me lurking at Threads at Bix_Bastet. And I am also under a tree snoozing a lot at Blue Sky. That is at Bix-Bastet. The show is also on TikTok. I put little things here and there on there, so catch them if you want. Thank you. That'd be lovely. Thank you, as always, to Shane, my excellent producer, editor, promoter extraordinaire. Go check out the Ethos Media Network if you would like to. I always try and do this and I never get it right. Back. No, that way. No. Okay, we're moving on from that. Go check out the Ethos Media Network if you would like to check out more from him. It is all freaking great. Join us at sickosclub.com and at Sickos Club on the old threads. You have never, what, people, met a more smart, kind, and talented bunches of silly sausages who also happen to really enjoy wrestling and aren't idiots. Okay? This was Don't Call Me Diva. Women wrestling rules! Don't be a dick.